Hi students, welcome to the class. In our previous class, we were discussing with the chemical reactions of haloalkanes. We completed with the first one, that is nucleophilic substitution reactions. Both SN2 mechanism and SN1 mechanism we have completed. Now in the present class, we'll try to start with the second chemical reactivity, that is elimination reaction. Now, with respect to elimination reaction, so which is a beta elimination reaction, if we take any alkyl halides which possess the beta hydrogen atom, an alkyl halide, so which contains beta hydrogen, if we treat with alcoholic potash, that is KOH, it is KOH in alcoholic medium. So we are going to see an elimination takes place, that is beta hydrogen and alpha carbon, that is possessing the halogen attached to the alpha carbon. So both gets eliminated. So this will be eliminated. As a result of the beta hydrogen elimination, the reaction is called as beta elimination reaction. Along with the beta hydrogen, so the halogen is also eliminated in the process. Hence, the reaction is also called as dehydrohalogenation reaction. It is along with the beta hydrogen, so the halogen is also removed in the process, and De stands for the removal. Along with the hydrogen and halogen, so the removal takes place, and the reaction is called as dehydrohalogenation reaction. Now, alcoholic potash is the reagent used to achieve this beta elimination reaction. Now, if you observe a simple illustration, how this beta elimination takes place. So if we treat an alkyl halide with a base, so we'll try to assume the B minus is the ion generated from a base. The base concept we'll try to consider. If we take an alkyl halide possessing the beta hydrogen, so we know that the functional group attached to carbon, so is designated as alpha in the common notation. The second carbon is indicated by the Greek notation beta. Now alpha is the functional group attached to carbon. The adjacent carbon is referred to as beta carbon, so which should possess a hydrogen. We'll consider a simple illustration like this. Now, such a particular alkyl halide, so it may contain any other side groups. So we'll try to consider the second case. What happens if there are two beta hydrogens in the case? That we'll take in the next information. Now, if you treat such a base with an alkyl halide possessing the beta hydrogen, so the base will be attracted towards the beta hydrogen. As a result, it will accept the hydrogen and will remove in the form of BH, where B is any base in general. So as we are treating KOH in the case, OH minus so will be considered as a basic ion here. Now, so as it is attracted, so this electrons, the CH sigma bond electrons will be transferred, that is, will be transferred to the carbon-carbon single bond and will be responsible for formation of a pi bond. That is, an unsaturated bond is seen between these two carbon atoms. In the process, this carbon halogen bond will be cleaved and the halogen will be obtained as a halide ion. The base, by accepting the H, will be formed as VH. And as a result of this, the resultant compound, what it is formed, is an unsymmetrical compound, that is alkene. As I have shown the other group, there may be any R group, this will be the hydrogen. Hence, an alkene will be formed as the major product in the process of beta elimination reaction. This is a simple illustration how a base will initiate an elimination reaction as beta elimination process. So remember, the functional group attached to carbon is alpha. The adjacent carbon for that is a beta. If it is other carbon here, again that will be a beta carbon for the respective position. Now here, if we designate what it is B, so B is a base. Then, so X is the halogen, which is a leaving group. So this is in simple what it is, a beta elimination reaction or dehydrohalogenation reaction. We'll take a simple example for this. Then we'll see the possibility of formation of two types of alkenes if it is an alkyl halide containing more than one beta hydrogen atom. Now, with a simple alkyl halide being, we'll take it is ethyl chloride, we'll try to consider. Now the halogen attached carbon is alpha carbon and the next one is beta. So consider one of the hydrogen, beta hydrogen gets eliminated in the process by treating with alcoholic potash. If you treat with alcoholic potash, so the base obtained from the potash OH minus, so will be accepted by one of the beta hydrogen and the elimination of that takes place, OH minus and H as water molecule. So the halide ion is accepted by the potassium ions here and will be obtained as KCl. And the resultant alkene formed is from the ethyl chloride, it will be ethene. Now here the possibility is formation of only one type of product because the groups which are present around the carbon or the atoms present around the carbon, so it is symmetrical in nature. So hence we are going to get in this case a symmetrical alkene, that is ethene. So it is ethyl chloride or chloroethane. So this example is clear to understand what is a beta elimination in simple process. Now the actual concept what we require to understand from the NCERT syllabus point of view is for unsymmetrical alkenes how it is obtained, or if the formation of alkene is two different types, so which will be the major product and which will be the minor product, that we need to understand. So that was explained from the scientist Alexander Zaitsev. So it is also the scientist name is also represented as Zaitsev to understand in the rule. Zaitsev rule we are going to call. So we'll try to understand it. Scientist Alexander Zaitsev. So he explained so how the beta elimination leading to two different alkenes and which will be obtained as a major product in the process. Now we'll observe. So what the Zaitsev rule says. One, the rule is important to understand. We need to consider if there is a possibility of formation of two alkenes in the process of beta elimination reaction. If there is a possibility of formation of two alkenes by beta elimination, so due to presence of the two beta hydrogens, then we need to understand this rule. So without the rule, we cannot able to explain which will be the major product and which will be the minor product. So that we need to understand from the rule. It is SATS rule, which is a very important concept in understanding the chemical properties of alkyl halides. Now, from the respective SATS rule, if we consider in any dehydrohalogenation reactions, the preferred product is that alkene which has the greater number of alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbon atoms. The rule says that in dehydrohalogenation, the preferred alkene as a major product the preferred alkene as a major product is the one which has greater number of alkyl groups. This is in simple to understand the SATS rule. That is, in dehydrohalogenation reaction, whatever the dehydrohalogenation reaction if you take, so which possess the 2 beta hydrogens. So the preferred alkene as a major product is the one so which has greater number of alkyl groups attached to that double bonded carbon atom. So there will be two types of alkenes formed. You need to see in the two products of alkene towards the double bonded carbon atoms on either side, which has a greater number of alkyl groups. So that can be selected as a major product, and the one with fewer alkyl groups on other sides, that is on either sides, will be considered as a minor product. Now, example will be more clear to understand the SATS rule. So we'll take with NCERT based example. It is 2-bromopentane we'll try to consider. Now, pentane is CH3, CH2, CH2. So to the second carbon, we'll try to consider the bromine attached. Now this is 2-bromopentane. Now by using 2-bromopentane, if you treat the compound with the alcoholic potash, that is OH minus from the potash, how it is forming the respective product. Now the one will be CH3, CH2, CH2, CH double bond CH2, and another product will be CH3, CH2, CH, CH, CH3. This will be the two types of product formed. One will be pent 1-ene and another alkene formed will be pent 2-ene. So pent 1-ene and pent 2-ene. Now we can observe how these two products are formed. Now the halogen attached carbon is alpha carbon, and towards the left side, so this will be a beta carbon, and one of the hydrogen can be considered as beta hydrogen. and towards the right side carbon, again it is a second carbon for this, so hence it is also a beta carbon. Again, it also possesses the hydrogen attached to it. So hence this is an example of alkyl halide possessing two beta hydrogens. So we know that the rule can be understood for the type of alkyl halides so which possess two beta hydrogens. Now, in the first type of product, what it is explained here, and the second one. So first we'll try to discuss how these are formed, then we'll conclude which will be the major product. Now, if you take, so the first type of product, that is pent 1-ene, how it is formed. So here, so this beta hydrogen and so the halogen gets eliminated in a dehydrohalogenation reaction. Now, the alkene formed here is between this alpha carbon and this beta carbon. Towards the right side, beta carbon. As the elimination takes place, so from this beta carbon, a hydrogen gets eliminated, the halogen from this. Whereas in the second product which is formed, pent-2-ene, so the alpha carbon remains the same, functional group containing carbon, and the beta hydrogen from this left side carbon gets eliminated in the process. So this is just to explain, I'm writing this here, so not required to mention this, just to understand from the main compound. Now in the second case, so this alpha and this beta carbon will form an unsymmetrical bond, that is a pi bond is formed between these two to form alkene as pent-2-ene. If you observe these two, pent-1-ene and pent-2-ene, as the two types of the products expected as alkenes, which is the major one to understand, so we need to learn the Sachs rule. Now accordingly, if you take the first product, towards left side there are 4 carbons, towards right side there is 1 carbon around a double bonded carbon. So one side it is more, one side it is less. If you consider in the second case, so on left side there are 3 carbons, right side there are 2 carbons. Hence, more number of alkyl groups are present on either side of the double bond is seen in the second case. Hence, pent-2-ene will be obtained as a major product because of presence of more number of alkyl groups on either side of double bond. Whereas the first product, pent-1-ene, will be obtained as a minor product because on either side of this is containing lesser number of alkyl group when compared to the other product. So if we take the same example, the percentage of yield, so the pent-1-ene is obtained nearly 19% in the 100% yield of the product. Remaining 81% of the yield is from the pent-2-ene as a major product due to the stability of this product. Now this is how we can understand how the beta elimination or dehydrohalogenation takes place for formation of unsymmetrical alkenes. Now, which is the major one is very important to understand. So this is a NCERT text-based example. Any other alternate examples may be asked. Just recall the rule to remember, so you can easily answer. So this type of question you can expect it as a fill in the blank type question, or identify the major product. So with a given reactant they will give. So if it is treated with alcoholic potash, what is the major product of 10? And write its IUPAC name will be a generally asked type of question. So you have two types of this topic, these type of topics in the unit. One is coming in the preparation, where Markovnikov's rule you need to relate, addition of halogen acid to alkene. Here the reverse, it is alkene to obtain from the alkene halide as a beta elimination reaction with the help of Sachs rule. Markovnikov's rule and the Sachs rule. So both you need to relate it as a rule-based questions from the unit haloalkanes and haloarenes. Hope this information is clear. So just understand, so beta elimination along with the halogen as a dehydrohalogenation reaction. So that's all with respect to beta elimination reaction. Now we'll continue with the next chemical reactivity, that is a special type of named reaction with metals. Now we'll learn with the last chemical reactivity of haloalkanes. It is reaction with metals. We have two important types. It is reaction with magnesium to form the Grignard reagent, and the next reaction with sodium as Wurtz reaction. So now, if we take any alkyl halides in general, that is chlorides, bromides, and iodides, they generally react with the metals to give compounds containing metal carbon bonds. So these type of metal carbon bonds which is formed with alkyl halides, they are specially known as organometallic compounds. Organometallic compounds. It is the bond formed between the metal and carbon by treating the alkyl halides as chlorides, bromides, and iodides. So the respective compounds formed are called as organometallic compounds. Such important organic compounds, organometallic compound, was first discovered in the year 1900 by Victor Grignard. Victor Grignard. So we have an important reagent in the name of the scientist, which is called as Grignard reagent. Which is represented by the general formula RMgX, alkyl magnesium halide. So alkyl magnesium halide, so represented as RMgX, is known as Grignard reagent, which is the very important organometallic compound. It is alkyl magnesium halide. I will try to learn how this organic compound, that is organometallic compound Grignard reagent, is prepared. So that we'll try to consider preparation of Grignard reagent as a first type in reaction with metals. Now if we take any alkyl halides, chlorides, bromides, or iodides, and if we treat with the magnesium metal in presence of dry ether, the magnesium has a unique ability of cleaving the carbon halogen bond of alkyl halide and will form the bond in between that halogen and carbon. So when any alkyl halides, if it is treated with the magnesium metal in presence of dry ether, the magnesium has a unique ability of forming the bond between the carbon and halogen. So here the bond nature of magnesium with carbon of alkyl group and halogen is entirely different, which is a unique nature of this compound. So this is formed as alkyl magnesium halide, which is known as Grignard reagent. So we'll take with a simple example to understand how Grignard reagent is prepared. So we'll take ethyl bromide as an example, CH3, CH2, Br. So common name is ethyl bromide, IUPAC name is bromoethane. Now when ethyl bromide is treated with magnesium in presence of dry ether, between the carbon of ethyl group and bromine, so the magnesium will form a bond, and as a result we are going to get ethyl magnesium bromide obtained as a Grignard reagent. Here the bond nature is very important to understand. Just focus here. if you take the alkyl carbon and magnesium, so if you see the nature of the bond here, so the carbon and magnesium bond is covalent in nature, whereas the bond between the magnesium and halogen, being metal and the non-metal with more electronegative character, will be ionic in nature. And if we see the electronegativities aspect, to consider the partial charges here, the carbon will acquire a partial negative charge which is more electronegative when compared to magnesium, and halogen will be more electronegative. As though the carbon and magnesium bond is covalent in nature, it is highly polar in nature. That is an interesting information regarding this. So this will be the important point regarding the structural aspect about the Grignard reagent. The carbon magnesium bond is covalent in character with polar nature, whereas a magnesium halogen bond will be ionic in character. Now, the Grignard reagent is highly reactive species, so which generally react with any trace quantity of proton giving compounds to give the respective the carbon. That means this bond will undergo a cleavage and will give a hydrocarbon in the process. So hence, so proton giving compounds, will take the example in general. So when magnesium, that is alkyl magnesium halide or MgX Grignard reagent, is treated with proton giving compound, will take a simple example, water. That H plus will be accepted by the alkyl group. In the process, the alkyl carbon and magnesium bond will undergo a cleavage. So RH will be obtained as a respective alkane, and magnesium will form a bond with the hydroxide ion OH. Will satisfy that valency by bonding with hydroxyl group. Hence, the Grignard reagent is a highly reactive species. Any proton donating compounds, if it is treated, so it will form immediately a hydrocarbon in general. So which is a unique nature, explains the property of a Grignard reagent. So this is in simple how the reactivity with magnesium metal takes place to yield an important organic compound, so known as Grignard reagent. A very simple one, you can expect it as a 1 mark question. What is a Grignard reagent, or what is the compound obtained when alkyl halide is treated with magnesium metal? Or for 2 mark question, you can expect explain the preparation of Grignard reagent, or what happens when an alkyl halide is treated with magnesium in presence of dry ether. So their equation supportive explanation you need to write. If it is a 1 mark question, so try to remember its general formula, the nature of the bond between the carbon and magnesium, the magnesium and halogen, and about the reactivity. So that is, Grignard reagent is highly reactive species. So this is clear. Now we'll try to learn the last reaction of chemical reactivity of haloalkanes. That is a very important named reaction. It is Wurtz reaction. A similar 2 more named reactions you have that we are learning in haloarenes chemical reactivity. It's a continuation of this Wurtz-Fittig and Fittig reactions. So don't get confused between the 3, which are very important 2 mark named reactions as well as for 1 mark questions. Now, Wurtz reaction is understood based on the reactivity of alkyl halides. So if we take any alkyl halides, generally chlorides, bromides, or iodides, any alkyl chlorides, alkyl bromides, or alkyl iodides, if you treat with sodium metal in presence of dry ether again, so reaction with metals, so you are going to see the dry ether medium. In the previous case, that is with Grignard reagent preparation, also have seen the same medium, dry ether medium. So with the treatment, so what happens, sodium metal will remove the halogen. The sodium metal will accept the halogen present in the alkyl halide and will form sodium halide. And in the process, the alkyl groups gets bonded to form an alkane. So here the reactant and product, if you observe, the product obtained will have double the carbon atoms, so which are seen in the parental alkyl halide used in the process. For example, if you use methyl halide, the obtained alkane will be ethane. If you use ethyl halide, obtained alkane will be butane. Like that, double the number of carbon atom containing alkane you are going to see as a product in the Woods reaction as alkane. So this will be one more question. The metal used is sodium in presence of dry ether, and the significance of the product is that the product obtained will have double the carbon atoms when compared to the parental alkyl halide. Now, if we observe this with a general equation, when an alkyl halide, if it is treated with sodium metal, generally here the reactivity is shown by treating 2 moles of alkyl halide with 2 moles of sodium metal. I have written the alkyl halide just to show the removal. So Rx, Rx. So it is alkyl halide. So 2 moles are utilized for reaction for every 2 moles of sodium present in the process. So both are same. So now what happens is that, so the sodium will react with the carbon halogen bond, will cleave that, so will be responsible for heterolytic cleavage. And in the process, the halide ion formed, so will be accepted by the sodium to form sodium halide. It is 2NaX. And the carbon of the alkyl groups gets bonded to form an alkene. So as 2 moles are forming 1 mole of alkane, their number of carbon atoms will be double when compared with the parental alkyl halide used. If we take with a simple example here, we'll consider an methyl chloride here. It is CH3Cl. It is the alkyl halide used in the example. It is methyl chloride. And methyl chloride is treated with sodium metal in presence of dry ether. The sodium will accept the halogens and will form sodium chloride here. And the 2 methyl groups will be added to form, bonded to form respective alkane as ethane. As a simple example I have taken, so the methyl group you are going to see as a ethane. So in the product obtained shows double the number of carbon atoms in the product form. So you can show any other example. For example, if you take one more, ethyl bromide, it is CH3CH2Br. So just to show the reactivity, I have considered like this, will be easier to show the removal. So or else we can show in another way, 2 moles of ethyl bromide reacts with 2 moles of sodium. In the process, sodium will remove the halogen from the alkyl halide, and as a result you are going to form CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3 as an alkane, and this will be butane. And the reactant used is ethyl bromide, and a side product, that is a reactivity product with sodium formed is, as the halogen is bromine, the halide formed is sodium bromide. So this is how the Woods reaction can be explained. So this way of representation will be more easy to represent the removal form. So this is another way of representing the equation. So you can prefer any one which you feel easy to practice. So with this, we completed with the chemical reactivities of the haloalkanes. Now we'll start with the chemical reactivities of haloarenes.